Sales Meeting. I can't believe that we are approaching almost the end of the first half of the year. Time is flying. We have lots of stuff to cover today, so I am going to dig right in. As always, I like to remind everybody, knowledge is not power. Knowledge is potential. Knowledge is potential energy. Execution is power. So since you are taking the time today to spend with us for the next hour, we want to make sure that you take away something that you're going to write down and go execute on after you leave today's program. So even if you write, say, 3 things down, we're going to make sure that the next hour is jam-packed with great information. So you'll have plenty of stuff to choose from, but make sure that since you're spending the time with us today, that you're going to go execute once you leave today's program. First, I want to just say a quick welcome to the agents who have joined us since the last meeting. So welcome to Sarah, Casey, and Janice, who all joined our Goffstown, New Hampshire office. Goffstown is technically not even open yet, so we're excited that we already have lots of agents interested in that marketplace. Also want to welcome Teresa Washington in our Port St. Lucie office in Florida, Saray in Chelmsford, Jose in Wellington, Florida, Alex, who joined our Peabody, Mass office, Selma, who joined our Athol, Mass office, Susan in West Yarmouth, and Alan in Sandwich. So welcome to our latest real estate agents. We're super excited to be working with you to help you accelerate your real estate career. So let's take a look at some numbers. What we're going to do is just take a look at total closings for the month of May. We're going to then go through our top agent lists, and we'll also do a year-over-year comparison so we could see where we stack up based on last year's numbers. So for May of 2024, we had 260 real estate closings at 128 million. We had somewhere around 28, I think, rentals on top of that. So that was just our sales. Here's a breakdown. Again, this breakdown is based on where the agent is located. So our agents that are affiliated with Massachusetts offices closed 192 sales at 103 million. New Hampshire, 18 sales at 8.4 million. And then Florida, 50 sales at 17 million. Again, those numbers don't include our rentals. Let's take a look at our top 5 agents for teams. Top 5 teams by volume in Massachusetts. We have number 1, Silver Key Homes, followed by O'Connell and Company, Page and Company, the North Star Group, and Kennard Residential Group. Congratulations. Next, we have our top 5 individuals for Massachusetts by volume. Congratulations to Robin Magenheim, Jessica Donahue, Corey Gracie, Roy Couture, and Paul Brulette. And then top 5 Massachusetts teams by unit sold. Number 1, Silver Key Homes, followed by O'Connell and Company, Page and Company, the North Star Group, and then Brian Pereira and Diana Paquette. And our top 5 individuals by units. We have Corey Gracie, Tiffany McDonald, Tamea Gorder, Jessica Donahue, and Paul Brulette. Let's look at our top for New Hampshire. This says top 4, but it's really 5. Our top 5 for New Hampshire, the numbers are exactly the same for volume and unit. So congratulations to Platinum Realty Group, the Fulford Group, Karen Pelletier, Lisa Newman, and Angela Lozier. Let's take a look at our top 10 Florida agents and teams by volume for May of 2024. Congratulations goes to the Pedraza team, Jeanette, Laura, Team Rebello, the Lambert team, Tanya, Matt, Ashley, Yesenia, and Mila. Did we miss one? There we go. And then top 10 for units for May. Congratulations to Tanya, the Pedraza team, Jeanette, Team Rebello, Matt McLaughlin, Laura, Lambert team, Yesenia, Jana, and Tanya McClendon. Congratulations to all of our highest performing agents for each of the regions we cover. As always, we put together a list as well of our top 25 company overall for all of our marketplaces for individuals and teams by volume and by unit sold. All of you will receive an email today from our blog. Once we publish these numbers, you'll receive the email, because if you're on one of these lists, there's some great social media content that our team prepares for you that you can download right from our blog and share on your own social media. So congratulations on a great start, or a great May, I should say. So let's take a look at our year-over-year volume. So as a reminder, the National Association of Realtors is predicting a 13% increase in sales this year as compared to last year. I will tell you, in most of our markets, we are not seeing an increase in transactions sold. In most of the markets, there is a decline in the number of units sold based on last year. However, the National Association of Realtors still has not adjusted their prediction, which means we're probably going to have a really strong second half of the year. So here's our overall numbers for 2023 versus 2024. 2023, we did 474 million. And this year so far we're at 485 million. So we're slightly up in volume, but we're down a little bit in units. So up by 4% in volume, but we're down by 2% in units. We can't forget as well that we've grown as a real estate brokerage in that time frame. So had we not added real estate agents, our numbers would be characteristic of what is happening in most of the markets, which is a slight decrease in overall numbers. But again, I believe we're going to see a super strong second half of the year. We're already feeling that in the New England market, where our spring market started later than normal. So I think we're going to see a very strong summer. So let's see. Here's the prediction from Lawrence Yun, National Association of Realtors. Again, he's still predicting that we're going to see a 13.5% increase in the number of units sold for this year. Now, before I dig into the first segment we have on accelerating success, I'm going to invite Craig Foley. I have a slide in later, Craig, for you, which I'll cover, but just in case, I know you have to leave because you're off to teach something. So we'll get our sustainability update before we launch on today's meeting.
Thanks, Stacy. I'm going to just switch screens here. So, you know, all of us are realtors. We all know that there's a code of ethics. I'm going to just make this short and sweet. Sergio, if you can throw in some of the training stuff that's going on, including today at noon, that would be great, into the chat. But right now we're working on an update to the code of ethics, specifically Article 11 of NAR's Code of Ethics, which requires knowledge and competence of agents. And several of us have been promoting for a long time that we believe that Article 11 specifically applies to agents listing homes with significant high performance features, this one being solar PV in the residential real estate marketplace. This is a draft that you're seeing right now. We have a long ways to go, but I think this particular section of it is pretty important. So this particular case interpretation is of a listing agent that had no idea that the host-owned solar PV system on their seller's rooftop had a contributory value to the sale. And in this particular case interpretation, the seller realized after the time of sale that their listing agent actually left money on the table. And in this example, they go to the local board and file an ethics complaint about the realtor, right? So Confidence is really critical here, right? Confidence in high performance homes, they have unique value propositions. This is proven in the marketplace. We know how to do this. Agents that have their green designation, like Stacy does, know that there's a methodology that's different. It's not just about comps. We can use an income approach, for instance, with adding solar PV to the as contributory value for the home's value in the marketplace. The listing agent failed to include information about these systems. Disclosure, John, the listing agent in this, the example of the listing agent in this case, should have disclosed to the seller under Article 11 that they didn't really know anything about solar PV systems or high performance home features in the home. And that should have been disclosed as a requirement under Article 11. And in fact, they probably should have partnered with an agent or referred that listing over to an agent that is knowledgeable and competent. Good example is the NAR green designation, and that John didn't have the client's best interests in mind. So I'm gonna just throw this section because it's a draft into the chat, Stacy, and people can take a look at it as they need. But you know, this stuff is definitely moving forward very quickly here. I can't seem to drop that in the chat. But this stuff is moving very forward very quickly, and obviously National Association of Realtors is getting the fact that you know this idea of confidence in this particular space is critically important. So I'll leave it at that, Stacey.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Craig.
Welcome.
All right, back to our accelerating success segment. So before we go into company updates, I want to go into the art of the checklist. This. So we're going to spend about 10 minutes just talking about the art of a checklist. A checklist is a type of job aid used in repetitive tasks to reduce failure by compensating for potential limits of human memory and attention. There's a wonderful book on this called The Checklist Manifesto by Atul Gawande. And basically, Atul Gawande is a surgeon who has traveled the country trying to find ways to eliminate needless sickness and death when it comes to surgeries. And the answer to that problem was building better checklists for everybody that is involved in the surgery. But there's lots of really cool case studies throughout the book that really focus on, for example, the airline industry and how even pilots are highly depend on having checklists. So any industry that has many tasks involved for delivery of a great product or service should have really great checklists in order to make it so that the individuals who are delivering the product or service can deliver great every time. And so that's why we're spending a little bit of time today just talking about checklists. So why is it that some agents struggle to reach their goals? In my opinion, the reason why some agents struggle to reach their goals is because all of us end up falling to the level of our systems. So you could have these massive, big, audacious goals, and you could be doing all the right things to get there. You're attending classes, you're learning new ways to talk to clients, things like that. But if you don't have the systems in place to support consistent business, then your business is always going to fall to the level of your systems rather than giving you the opportunity to reach for huge goals. So let's talk about why checklists. Well, first of all, checklists give you daily direction. The greatest challenge most agents have is knowing what to work on each day to build a business. So checklists give you a roadmap each day. Checklists are also great for error reduction. Checklists help reduce errors by providing a structured and consistent way to ensure all necessary steps are completed. I think this also goes hand in hand with because there's less errors, there's less liabilities and potential lawsuits for you and your clients. Efficiency. By outlining essential tasks, checklists save time and increase efficiency. They prevent the need for constant mental juggling and allow for a more streamlined process. Checklists also create accountability. They promote accountability by clearly delineating what tasks the agent is responsible for completing in order to get to the goal. Checklists also create reliability. They help standardize procedures, making outcomes more predictable and reliable. They also reduce stress. They alleviate stress by reducing cognitive load required to remember all the necessary tasks that have to get done. And this allows an individual to focus on execution rather than recall, because now they're just working off a checklist. Checklists also assist with learning and adaptation. They serve as a tool for learning and improvement in general. The reason is because once you work off a checklist, you see opportunities that you can go in and modify based on experiences and outcomes from using the checklist up until that point. And by doing so, you lead to continuous improvement in processes. One of the things that we do at LAER, I would say our staff, we spend a great deal of time constantly improving the systems, the checklists, the processes, looking for where is the hole in the process so that we can make life easier for the real estate agent and always be continuing to improve on what we already offer. So this is a really big one, learning and adaptation. Also, checklists are so important because they help us manage really complex things. In super complex situations, such as buying or selling a house or building a real estate business, checklists break down tasks into manageable steps, making it easier to handle and navigate intricate things that must get done in order to accomplish the goal. And then checklists are great for verification and validation. They ensure that critical steps are just simply not overlooked. Simply just stick to the checklist. Checklists also provide empowerment. They provide clear guidelines. Checklists empower agents to take action confidently, knowing that they have a reliable guide to follow. So the biggest value that checklists bring to the table, and checklists and systems and processes and protocols, it's all the same thing. It's just sticking to a system. The biggest value that checklists bring to the table is that they create clarity. Clarity is clearness, lucidity, and understandability. When we don't live in clarity, the opposite is that we live in chaos, which is disorder and confusion. And so in life, if you look at the more successful real estate agents, typically they have very defined systems. They've created clarity for their business that even without thinking about it, they just go through and work off these systems each day, these checklists each day or each appointment they have. But not only that, great real estate agents eliminate chaos for their customer. Craig and I just did the sustainability summit in Minnesota, and we talked about this because especially when it comes to high performance properties, what a wonderful opportunity for real estate agents to help eliminate confusion for customers, both buyers and sellers who are interested in high performance homes. That's true for any customer. It is our job every single day. We think of ourselves as marketers and negotiators, but really what we are is we are in the business of eliminating chaos and confusion for our customers. The better we can get at eliminating chaos and confusion and disorder to the consumer, the better we're going to do in our business. Clarity is kindness. And in our business, we are creating clarity for the people that we work with. So great agents eliminate chaos and they create clarity. So what do checklists look like? Because what's really interesting in speaking with agents about checklists is sometimes agents think that they don't work off checklists at all. And I guarantee you that you're already at a minimum working off of some checklists in your business, even if you don't realize it. Because sometimes checklists look like checklists, but sometimes they look like something else. So typical checklist, of course, many of you have an assortment of these checklists, like a pre-listing appointment checklist, a showing checklist. You give your buyer a checklist of things. When somebody's moving, we give a moving checklist. Buyer questionnaires and seller questionnaires are checklists. Let's take a look at some others. Contracts are checklists. So think about that, especially as we're moving into this new realm of having to get the buyer agency agreement signed on each transaction in order to show a property. A contract creates clarity. A contract is a gift. So at the end of the day, the changes, I'm not saying that the changes from the National Association of Realtors are perfect. I think there's lots of things that could have been done better. But the gift that comes out of it is the requirement of the buyer agency agreement, because that is the requirement of a checklist. It is a requirement that you have these conversations with a consumer. So I want to also point out that when it comes to a contract checklist, again, your job is to create clarity where we can potentially work with a checklist, but still create chaos is when we just hand somebody an agreement or a contract and not go through what exactly it entails or what they are agreeing to. But the agents that do well the second half of 2024 are going to be the ones that can clearly articulate what is in the contracts that you're asking people to sign. And remember, it's a gift. It is you creating clarity. The contracts are a checklist of things that the government, for example, feels that the consumer should know. So don't just hand them out, go through it and create clarity. The other piece that sometimes we don't realize is actually a checklist, and this is so important, is buyer and seller presentations. I still see a lot of real estate agents that don't work off of a presentation. I'm a huge proponent of showing up at a buyer appointment or a listing appointment and having a great presentation to articulate your value. You can do it as PowerPoint or Canva, just like I'm presenting to you guys now. You can present to your customers that way. But it could also just be a flip book that you print out your presentation and go through it. And the reason why this is so important is because the listing presentation and the buyer presentation are also checklists. They're things that you want to make sure that you articulate to the client. How many times have you lost a listing to someone else because you simply forgot to talk about something? So you call the seller after you find out you've lost the listing and you say, hey, how come you chose, if I could just find out why you chose that real estate agent over me so that I can prepare better in the future. And they tell you this is the reason why. And you say, hey, I do that too. Well, if you didn't talk about it, it's the same as it's not having it. If you're not talking about it, then it's really not a value proposition, at least in the eyes of the buyer or seller. And that's what matters, their perception. So the value of a great listing presentation and a great buyer presentation is it is a checklist. It's like going through and say, okay, what are the top 10 things that my seller would care about or any seller would care about? On the buyer presentation, what are the top 10 things that a buyer would care about? And then filling them in, making it a pretty presentation, but realizing for yourself that that is a checklist. And the purpose of that checklist is to create clarity which is the gift you give to your clients. Anything can be a checklist. In fact, I had read an article a long time ago about Steve Jobs, and he tried to make daily decisions as simple as possible, down to the wardrobe he wore every single day. Because when you have a checklist, you eliminate a load from your mind. Like, it's something you just don't have to think about because it's on the checklist. Now you've expanded, you can go think about other things for you to create for your business. So even daily decisions can turn into just a checklist. This is exactly how I do it every single time. Your daily rituals are also checklists. So the things that you do every single day, for example, making your bed and neatening up your room to create clarity in your environment, because clarity in your environment ends up translating to clarity in your own head as well. But all these rituals that you have in your daily life, these two are also just checklists. So I want to just talk for 3 or 4 minutes about how to build better habits for your business using checklists. So I'm going to skip out of here and I'm going to go back to our Algorand program. So about 18 months ago, many of you already have this guide. 18 months ago, LAER created the Algorand system. It is a real estate business growth system. And this is the checklist that will change your business. And in fact, it has changed the business of many real estate agents, both at LAER and other brokerages. And basically what Algorand is we went out and studied our agents that perform consistently at $10 million a year in business. There are many agents at our brokerage that every single year they will easily hit $10 million because their business is not predicated on what is happening in the market. By the way, that's true for you. That's true for everybody listening today. The market does not predict what is happening to your business. That's just like noise, what is happening in the marketplace. It's information to know because it can help you create clarity for your buyers and sellers, but it matters nothing to your business. So why is it some agents every single year, regardless of what the market does, they're able to perform at a very high level of, say, $10 million a year, which is around $250,000 in gross income? And it is because there is an algorithm. There is a set things that they do in their business that they know that if they do these things, they can expect a consistent result. And so we studied our highest performing agents. We created this system by looking at what high performing agents do. So many of you have this book already. You can download a copy at laerrealty.com/Algorand. If you've joined LAER in the last 6 months, we always include our book in your welcome box as well. I highly recommend that as you're thinking about the second half of 2024, even if you already have a successful business, this entire program, the Algorand program, is based on checklists. Because I guarantee you that no matter how much business you're doing, there are checklists embedded into this program that can be game changers for your business. Very quickly, this whole Algorand program is based on basically 7 checklists. So there's a yearly checklist, so a 12-point checklist that you do once a year. There's also a monthly checklist and a weekly checklist. Those only have 9 items that you do weekly, and then 9 items you do monthly. And then as new business starts to come in, we've created checklists for when you get a new buyer, when you get a new seller, when you have a new listing, and then for people appreciation event checklists. So for the second half of the year, as we as an organization plan out, how can we help serve our agents for the second half of the year? A lot of it is going to be re-leaning into our Algorand program. We don't need to go out and find new things when we've already answered the question. Everything is embedded into these checklists. However, so First of all, I do want to just note that we're working on some training programs to get out and re-deliver the Algorand system to our agents. We have a new version of the book. So we updated the version for 2024. The new version just has maybe 5 or 6 extra pages. Even in the old Algorand system, we always we encouraged a buyer agent presentation. So that's nothing new. However, we put some additional materials into the new version, just based in light of the National Association of Realtors ruling around buyer agency. So it's been slightly augmented, but the old version of the book's still 100% accurate. Now, we're going to be creating some new programs, new training programs around the Algorand system. The other thing that we're very excited about is that we are relaunching our coaching program. So if you go to laerrealty.com/layer coaching, even though we launched the Algorand program 18 months ago, we also had simultaneously a coaching program that we were running, and that coaching program did not utilize the Algorand system. So as we were thinking about how do we better serve our agents in 2024, we said, you know what? The answers are already in the Algorand book. Everything we need is there. So let's redevelop the coaching program so that the agents are learning from these checklists. So we're launching, we just went through several rounds of training our coaches on the new Algorand coaching program. It's a 6-month coaching program. It is still complimentary for LAER agents, so you don't have to pay for it. But the focus each month is on how to develop your own Algorand business, how to start utilizing those checklists. So if you're interested in learning about the Algorand program, the coaching program, you can go to laerrealty.com/layer coaching. Now, let me just talk about the coaching for a minute. So in addition to the Algorand workbook, which is what the agents work off of, we also developed an Algorand coaching manual. This is what our coaches will work off of. So when you sign up for coaching, your coach will register your coaching group. Usually a coaching group is 5 to 8 people. Your coach will register the group, and then each of you will get a new copy of the newest Algorand booklet, so you can work off of that. And then the coach has their own manual. The coaching program, again, we didn't want to teach agents something new. Everything you need to be super highly successful is in the Algorand workbook. The reason for the coaching is because some agents, even if we give you all the information on exactly the steps to take to build a highly successful real estate business, it is not uncommon for agents just to simply not do it. They get caught up in certain things. They get caught up in, for example, the weekly checklist. There's certain things that they don't do, or the monthly checklist. There's certain things that they don't do. So the Algorand coach has all these additional training materials that we've provided them with for each coaching call, where the coaches, they're not teaching you anything new. Everything that you're coached on is still within the Algorand business growth system. But what the coach brings to the table is these additional lessons on mindset. So for example, fixed versus growth mindset, understanding how to manage your energy and create high vibration so that you're attracting business. So the coach, each coaching session brings in these additional little training materials, not to teach you how to do real estate, because that's already part of the Algorand system. What the coach brings in is these additional tools to help you conquer your own limiting beliefs, your own mindset, in order to have massive results in your business. So even if you've been through our old coaching program, This is just a totally different program. So I think that you may get something out of it, even if you've taken our old program and you re-sign up for the new Algorand coaching program. So that's basically our focus for the second half of 2024 is redelivering our new coaching program for our agents, because this stuff is going to be life-changing for some of you. We have like some additional lessons on different types of time management, different lessons on how to understand your own strengths and then figure out what do you do with the weaknesses, how to figure out the traps that you fall into in your own life, such as negative thinking or limited thinking. So we're super excited for the coaching program. I think there's nothing like it at any other brokerage or even in the industry, because not only does the Algorand give you all the answers to building a highly successful business, but now our coaches also have this additional great content so that they can continue to help you overcome the one thing that's holding you back. And usually the one thing that's holding you back is you. So that is I'm gonna go back to our sales meeting. So that's why I wanted you guys to get a little bit of information today on checklists. And the whole Algorand system was built off of checklists, because it is no surprise, not only in real estate, but in every industry, highly successful people depend on checklists to create successful businesses. And so through our Algorand program and the coaching program, we're excited to deliver to you the second half of the year all kinds of great checklist content for you to succeed. All right, next up, I want to introduce first off Farah Belizario she's our new Florida Regional Director of Agent Services. Some of you guys have already met her in our Florida offices, but I want to invite Farah on. She has so many plans. She's only been here a couple weeks, and each week I get a checklist from her of all the things that she worked on last week and what she's working on next week. So this is right up your alley, Farah. Tell us about some of the stuff you're working on.
It is. It's funny. Hi, everyone, to begin with. Nice to kind of meet you. I'm looking forward to meeting more of the South Florida agents. I am, as Stacey said, a very naturally system-oriented person, and that's kind of what I've been working on here at the Wellington office for the last week and a half, building systems and creating sustainability in those systems so they are consistent and I can deliver consistent support to each and every one of you. So some of the things that we're working on the agent services side, I am also on the title side, so we'll touch on that in a second, but some of the things that we're working on delivering on the agent services side of things are an ongoing educational class and class calendar and events calendar for all of South Florida, which is going to be so much fun. Some examples of some of the upcoming classes that we're going to have. One of them that we just developed last week, Stacey had a great idea and I kind of came up with the finishing touches to it, is actually called the main event, where we're going to have super amazing tenured agents share how they achieve their success. And I guarantee you there's some checklists in there as well. So there's a recurring theme here across the board. Some other classes and events that we're working on, we're definitely working on a time and calendaring mastery class that's going to be awesome for implementing the checklist. I think one of the biggest thing about creating systems is creating the system and then creating a strategy to implement them. And that's definitely where the calendar piece comes in. I have some other notes about some of the other things we're going to do, especially we're going to have a Facebook group dedicated to South Florida. Just another avenue for us to communicate with you as well, for you to communicate with each other, celebrate your win, overcome challenges together as a team. So that's going to be an amazing thing. On the title side of things, I am actually your LAER in-house New World Title Liaison, and I can help you get connected with our New World Title team. I can help you with seller net sheets, closing estimates, help you with some of the technology that comes along with New World Title, and just do everything I can on both sides of things just to make your transactions easier and to support you in every way possible. So thank you so much, and nice to meet everybody. Hi.
Awesome. Thank you, Farah. And by the way, our team at New World, we have Alma at our Wellington office. By the way, we're creating some systems to travel. We want to be able to serve everybody. Our Wellington, West Palm offices work with the New World quite often, but we also want to work with our Port St. Lucie agents, our Delray agents. So, and Alma is wonderful. Alma has already said, like, hey, you want me to go to an open house? You want me to travel? I'll do anything. She's got like 25 years doing title closings. So between Farah and Alma in Florida, we have lots of awesome things happening. Next, I want to just let everybody know that we have a big grand opening coming up in New England in West Yarmouth. We have 2 grand openings happening. First of all, our West Yarmouth LAER office, which has been around for a while. However, thanks to the help of Johnny Fallon and our amazing agents in the West Falmouth area, we've been working on our building for a while, like perfecting it. We went through a massive rehab in the building in West Yarmouth. So we're excited to share all the updates in our location that is now finally complete. It got a beautiful facelift. And directly next to our office in West Yarmouth is our newest coast-to-coast closings office. And we have a wonderful new attorney who will be announcing to you guys next month, who will be running our Cape and Islands coast to coast closings office. So we're going to do a combined grand opening of our coast to coast office and our LAER office, since they are directly next to each other. And we're going to do that on July 16th from 4 to 7 p.m. If you haven't been there, I actually got a text message from Brenda Albert from our Leominster office today, because every year in the West Yarmouth, they do this awesome sand sculpture competition where businesses can have this massive sand sculpture done in front of your business, and then they create a map so people who coming to West Yarmouth or the Cape can go visit all the different beautiful sand sculptures. And we have one in front of LAER, and it's a big, beautiful lion. So we're excited for you guys to get pictures with our sand sculpture and come visit all of our wonderful West Yarmouth agents and attorneys. Just wanted to give you guys an update because this has been in the works for a while, but the VA did finally announce that once the NAR changes take effect, that they are going to allow VA buyers to pay a buyer agent fee if they need to. So we have lots of agents that are part of the Veterans United program, and our agents were concerned, saying, well, what happens if there isn't a cooperating commission being paid? The VA does not allow the veteran to pay a buyer agent. Well, that has all changed now. As of August 10th, the buyer will be able to pay a buyer agent fee. Also, if the seller chooses to pay the buyer agent fee on a VA loan, that is not considered part of the seller concession. So you don't have to feel like you're going to max out what you're allowed to ask the seller for, because it's just totally separate. So there are some conditions around it. The buyer agent fee has to be disclosed on the CD, which is not unusual anyways. And it also has to be in a state that does not have MLSs that are being used for co-broking. We're seeing a lot of states where the MLSs are basically ignoring the whole National Association of Realtors ruling, in that they're continuing to offer, even past August, They're going to continue to offer cooperating commissions through their MLSs. If you do fall, I don't think any of our offices fall in one of those states, but if it's a VA loan and the VA buyer is buying in one of the states where the MLS is choosing to still offer cooperation through the MLS, then the rules are a little bit different. I also want to do another copywritten photo warnings. We went through this big time in Southern Florida last year with listing photos. You absolutely should never, ever, ever take like a photo from Google. There's a really good chance if you're taking a photo off of somebody's website or off of Google that it is a copywritten photo. So specifically, we had 2 lawsuits in Florida last year because our agents utilized a picture of like a tennis court or a flower bed garden at a condo complex in Southern Florida that they accidentally pulled from Google. And those were copywritten. And I promise you that there are photographers who make their money by suing real estate companies. But I also want to let you know that even beyond that type of lawsuit, we have some agents in New England recently that ran into some issues because a lot of times our agents are using interns to do their social media. So they get like a free intern or a paid intern even from a local school to create social media. And these agents had like a really good social media campaign where they would take from the internet photos of like a covered bridge in New Hampshire and post it on social media and talk about the town. They ended up in a potential copyright infringement and had to settle with that with the photographer. So cannot stress enough, be super careful in every single marketplace. If you did not take the photo, don't use it. And secondly, upgrade to the paid version of Canva. If you use the paid version of Canva, they give you millions and millions of stock images. Then you can use the picture of the covered bridge from Canva because you've paid for it through your subscription from Canva. But do not take photos off another person's website. Even with real estate agents saying, well, can I use photos from that listing if I ask them? I'd still be super careful because we don't know if they accidentally took a photo from somewhere. So just be super cognizant of the fact that photos are highly protected and copywritten. You could end up paying a lot of money out of pocket. We already got to hear from Craig today. I do want to point out that on our LAER Agent Services, we have a new green listing and buyer presentation if you're a high performance agent. Also, our marketing team has been updating all of our tools. So if you go on each week, I see new stuff on there, and we have a new buyer's guide, a new listing presentation. So our team is constantly like adding new materials, but also making really nice upgrades to the materials we already had. I've been receiving emails from all of the state realtor boards, Florida, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Maine, Connecticut. All of them are coming out with new forms June and July. So make sure that as we see them come out, we'll let you guys know, but also our one-stop shop for NAR settlement resources is all at laeragentservices.com. As a reminder, you could sign up for briefing sessions. If you're using any of the LAER tools and need assistance, you can go to laerrealty.com/briefings, and one of our staff members will do a one-on-one call with you. I also want to remind you that every month we do an internal company newsletter. Please go check out our newsletter at laerrealty.com/news. Not only do you get to find out what our different committees are working on, but also you get to see what's happening in the lives of our agents. So who got married and who accomplished a new license, who had a new baby, things like that. Next up, I think we have Nicole here today. Nicole from our Coast to Coast Closings team, here to give us some updates.
Hello. Yes.
You guys have been traveling like crazy across New England, getting in front of all of our agents, teaching about buyer agency.
We have, and I have had such a great time. I know that Mike has been doing it also. I think he is actually at
He's
one
doing
right
one
now.
right now.
Yes. So hi, Mike, if you're listening. So yes, that's what I was going to talk about. Stacy touched on a lot of the important things, but we have been having a great time. It is not formal. We've been doing like roundtable discussions. There's been a lot. The biggest concern that we've been hearing is, but I don't want to talk to my buyer about that. But I don't want to talk to my buyer about that. And it's nice because the other agents in the room are saying, but why? You talk to your seller like that. Why can't you now talk to your buyer about it? So that's the biggest thing right now, is that buyer agreement. We need to have it signed, get on board, do it now before the laws come down to make you do it. And as always, of course, any one of us are available at any time of day, the attorneys. And like Stacy said, we will have one down in the Cape on the islands shortly. And we can't wait to go to that grand opening. And I think that's
all right. Awesome. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, guys.
As a reminder, if you guys go to the NAR resource page that we created, Coast to Coast wrote a wonderful white paper. Anytime we find an article or a white paper or information that explains the new buyer agency rules, number one, for the buyer, but also explains it for the seller, offering the seller reasons why they should still be offering cooperating commission. Anytime we find great content that is written by someone else, we add it to that resource page, because this stuff needs to be part of your buyer presentations and your listing presentations. So Coast to Coast has a wonderful white paper that was written. That way it's not you having to say it. It's an outside source explaining like the absolute importance of a buyer agent. Also, Coast to Coast has a cool locals guide. If you guys are doing an open house, you can go to ctcclosings.com/a locals guide, and they do this nice little 2-page guide to the town that your property is located in, so that you can leave it out at your open house. Lots of training coming up over the next 30 days. Best place to find all of our training is laerrealty.com/training. Make sure you just go to that. There's a calendar, click on the one you're interested in taking and sign up. And as always, you can download the recordings of all the training that we do. The best place to get it is youtube.com/LAER training. As always, you can visit any of our LAER offices. And as we head into the summer, if you're thinking about, if you want to have a voice into the tools, training, and technology available at LAER, please sign up for a committee, laerrealty.com/committees. This is one of the things I really want to focus on for Florida as well, now that FAIR is there, getting more of our Florida agents involved in committees, because the committees shape our company. Every tool we have, every piece of marketing we have, every training program we have, it came from a committee. So this is our way of making sure that you as the agent continues to always have a voice in everything we do as an organization. So sign up at laerrealty.com/committees. And as always, if you need anything, our Happy Agent team is available 7 days a week to assist. And with that, our next sales meeting will be on July 10th, 2024. And want to wish everybody a great start to summer. Thanks, everyone.